This episode is brought to you by Trailer Park Yard Games, where over 28 games are delivered directly to your party. We park the trailer, you party.
Yeah, we would also call the Texas Rangers if I were gone and they needed, that type of
The Texas Rangers just sounds so cool.
What's the baseball team gonna do?
So, Sammy Sosa.
Do you also
help us?
Sammy Sosa? That was a long time ago.
I don't know. I don't follow baseball.
Do you? I just jump back a couple eras. So do you have a 9 to 5-ish too, and then you get called out, or?
Let's have a chat, talk this and that with PB and Jaisy.
Hello and welcome to the PB and Jaisy podcast. My name is Jaisy George, and I'm joined by the lovely Bill Stedham.
Oh, and I'm Bill Stedham, the lovely Bill Stedham.
Yes, very lovely.
Oh,
in your all navy.
I'm worried about that. All Navy? No, this is Air Force.
The navy is the color.
The color.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
He doesn't know his color.
Oh.
I did that to you the other day, so it's only fair.
Okay.
But hi, I'm Sarah.
Thank you for
You're
being
welcome.
here.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could be here today. Thanks for having me.
Yes. For some reason, I feel mostly women are really into like murder and like learning about serial killers.
All the late
creepy,
night TV shows.
Yeah. When Tom and I first got married, he would come home all the time and I would be watching like something about some woman who went crazy and murdered her husband and hid the body. And he's just like, why are you watching all of this stuff?
Does it put you to sleep?
No, I just feel like it's so interesting. And I think it's so interesting because it's so far removed from anything I would do. Or maybe that's just what I want y'all to think.
This is going to go on Dateline.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be part of it.
But today we're joined by a very old friend of mine from high school who, for as long as I can remember, I remember sitting in like 7th grade and you saying that you wanted to be a forensic scientist. And now you are a crime scene investigator. That's the correct title, right?
Yes.
Okay. So tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I don't even remember saying that I wanted to be a forensic scientist.
Jaisy makes stuff up.
Oh, maybe
I
just made it up.
No.
I remember you saying that you wanted to like investigate things. Maybe it was an investigator. I don't know.
Okay. Well, so I'm a crime scene investigator for the Ellis County Sheriff's Office in Waxahachie. Been doing this about 11 years, almost 12. I basically get called to crime scenes and I process the scene for evidence. I document it photographically, notes, sketches, all of that. And then if there's any evidence at the scene that needs to be processed further, I might swab something for DNA or process something for fingerprints, or if it's beyond my capabilities, I would collect it and bring it back to the lab where we would submit it for further testing elsewhere.
That is so cool. I have so many questions. Okay, I'm going to start with this. What does education look like for that, for you to go from, graduating high school to where you are now?
So most law enforcement agencies require a science degree of some sort.
Okay.
Some agencies, you'll start as a police officer and then move into crime scene. But there's a trend kind of going with the court systems these days to where they want crime scene investigators or forensic scientists to have a hard science degree.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And so you got a hard science degree.
Somewhat, yes.
Okay.
So I majored in anthropology with concentration in forensic anthropology. Okay. So that may have been what I had mentioned back in the day, because I don't know, I've always been into like archaeology and anthropology and culture. So
that's really cool. That's really cool. I feel so like humbled in your presence, Threat.
Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah. No, that's so cool.
I'm so nervous.
What is
because we're alive. She's not used to.
Oh yeah, she's not used to being around people that have pulses. There's so many different.
That's hilarious.
There's so many different titles with like crime scene investigator, forensic scientist, or there was like one that I saw that was like criminalist or something. Mm-hmm. What is the difference? Are they all the same or different?
So some law enforcement agencies might use those terms interchangeably, but most of the time a crime scene investigator is simply someone that goes to a crime scene and processes the crime scene, but they're not going to have any sort of role examining the evidence at a later time.
They're just collecting.
They're going out to the scene and processing it and collecting it. Okay. A forensic scientist or a criminalist would examine evidence in a lab setting where they would make some sort of analytical determination.
So like more of like what we see on CSI, where they're in a lab working and processing. Okay.
Yes, but like for me, I'm a crime scene investigator and a forensic scientist. So
Do you process the whole thing from start to beginning?
I do.
Okay.
So I also specialize in latent prints. So I would bring evidence back to the lab and process it for latent prints, and then I would do a latent print examination. So that's
What is latent?
Yeah, what
print
is
mean? Sorry.
So a latent print
For people that maybe don't know, what is
For latent terms.
Yeah, latent terms.
So a latent print is a print that requires some sort of physical or chemical development to be
To
made
lift
visible.
it. Okay.
So, a latent print, if I were to touch this water bottle here, you wouldn't necessarily see the print that I left behind.
Gotcha.
But I could take it to the lab. I could use a variety
Thank
of
you, by the way. We're going to keep that.
I could take it to the lab and do a variety of different techniques to make that print visible. So then I could later perform a comparison or examination and possibly be able to identify who made that print.
So techniques have changed. We used to use super glue.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. So that,
Baby powder is what we did when we were kids.
Yeah.
To pull prints like that back in a day, and it's been a long time since I've been involved in that. We would put it in an aquarium with super glue, and you'd be surprised.
So you have a lot of experience with this then.
I graduated from a little place that has 3 digits in it. One starts with an F.
Okay.
What could that be?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
What?
I was in the Air Force, did some stuff there.
Gotcha. So talk to me a little bit about the process of going from like never seeing a dead body to like that's what you do. Like was that a hard thing to do, like your first one?
No. I don't know if it was because I was mentally prepared for it or if I'm just weird. Because like I thought it was so
it's
cool.
both.
I thought it was so cool. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like all up in there like looking at it and poking and like, just
But I think you probably get to the science part of it.
Yeah, like it was purely clinical. Like it was very interesting to me. I guess what has been weird to get used to is like scenes with decomposition or rigor mortis.
Where they don't look like people anymore.
Yes. And that's one of the things, like on TV, they show the people still look exactly the same.
Like,
they look very different when they're dead.
And I imagine working in Texas, like if there's like a body outside in the hot Texas summer, like I'm sure you've been to some really gnarly things.
Very.
Well,
Especially suicides and things like that
yes.
where they don't get found for a while.
We should have put a disclaimer on this one, maybe. I don't know. I think we're fine. I can remember. So I go to this. It's a camp for women, and it's called Becoming an Outdoor Woman. The name is a little weird, but anyway, they teach you things, and one of them was field dressing an animal. And I grew up. My dad's a hunter. My husband's a hunter, and so I never knew that if it would bother me or not. But I also never field dressed an animal myself. And so when it came time to do it, I was like, I'm just gonna. It's one of those things you're just gonna have to do to see how you feel. And same thing, like something switched, and it was so scientific that I was like, oh, there's the liver and the kidneys and there's the heart. And it was fascinating to me, but it was no longer that animal. It was a learning experience. So is that kind of how you feel? Like it's just a science to you?
I guess so.
Yeah.
See, I couldn't do the animal.
Yeah.
I'd get there and be like, oh, somebody has to do this.
Yeah, not everybody can do what she does though, because I remember many times going into an autopsy or something and seeing an agent or an officer pass out.
Oh, yeah.
And that's never good.
But you really don't know what you're going to do until you're in that situation.
Yeah,
Right.
You never know what you're going to come up on.
But once you do, you then learn who can do it, who can't do it.
When they get those loppers out and they start breaking the ribs,
Yeah.
not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, I bet not. Well, and then tell us, because is it very common for females to be in this role, or is this something is it more old men, like you said earlier, I think is what you said?
Honestly, most of the people that I know in forensics are women.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that's probably a trend. He's shaking his head, but maybe that's a trend that's changing.
But realize I did it before things like NCIS, made it an attractive thing to do.
Right.
And so there's a few decades between us here and doing this. So
When you see things or clips from like NCIS and stuff like that, are you like, oh, okay? I mean, you did mention the bodies, but it's like far as their scientific process of doing stuff, are you like, oh, okay, really? You're ruining the crime scene.
It's outlandish.
it's
Nobody
ridiculous.
can watch those shows with me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just can't even watch it. I'm so
sure.
critical.
Well, and have you watched Dexter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Would you have caught Dexter?
I don't know. I guess it's been a while since I've watched it. I don't know.
Well, and walk me through. Okay, so crime happens. They call you in. You collect the evidence. You do your lab work, and then what happens? Because I know you're involved with some of the court process and stuff too, right? So walk us through that timeline a little bit.
Well, the timeline's going to be very different, just depending on the circumstances.
Okay.
On TV, they show everything's all wrapped up,
Right.
within one episode. But it may take weeks, months, years for a case to reach a resolution. So I would, after I go to the initial scene, I might have to follow up and go back out to the scene multiple times, or there may be additional scenes.
Okay.
I may have to process various types of evidence in the lab. I would have to write a supplemental report, and then at a later time I would be subpoenaed for court if it ever went to trial.
Okay, and what does a trial look like for you? Is that a lot of prep work?
Is that scary to have to testify?
Well, yes and no. Like I'm always kind of nervous about the unknowns, like what the defense attorney is going to ask, because their job is to make you look really bad, like you don't know what you're doing.
Or seeing the person that probably did it.
Well,
do you see them?
That doesn't usually bother me because by then I've already interacted with them. Because I may have to get a known DNA standard from them, which is a buccal swab. I would be right in their face, putting a Q-tip basically in their mouth. So that doesn't bother me. And testifying in front of people that, the jury's usually like on the edge of their seat. That's what they want to hear.
Yeah.
So that's great. But the unknowns of what the defense is going to ask is
like you said, their job is to tear you apart.
Yeah.
So
Or to
you're
question
willingly
everything.
going in saying, okay, have at me.
Yeah.
Well, you're so cute and cheery and
you.
happy. And I actually have a friend, Starla, that CSI also, and she, same thing. Do you know Starla
I know
Wyatt?
Starla. Yeah.
Okay, so she was a client of mine. But yeah, same thing. Like she was so cute and bubbly and smiling. I'm like, you do what? Like I just assumed.
You're around dead people all day.
I just assumed it was like some crotchety old man.
It's not like in Ellis County there's a murder every day.
Right.
You're not around dead people all the time. There's other types of crimes that happen.
Yeah.
Do you get called out on all types of crimes?
Yes.
Okay.
So anything ranging from minor property crimes. I say minor, just minor as in the charge.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I might get called to property crimes or all the way ranging to, a mass murder. So
Like John Buck's truck when it got stolen. If it had happened in Ellis County and found in Ellis County, I suspect she would have got called out on that to help process that and figure out what happened. But that's not where it happened.
So my cousin is a detective in Mansfield, and he got called one time, and this lady was like hell bent on having him come out and see whose dog was pooping in his yard or in her yard. Like she wanted him to do some type of like DNA test to figure out. 'Cause she knew whose dog it was, but she just needed
She needed the proof?
Yeah, like man, we don't do that.
Yeah. Mom, you're wasting city resources. Please call me.
it's a civil matter.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So timeline, you talked about that a little bit. What about the actual the scenes that you go out on? So you said it could murder, suicide. Is that something that's pretty common? Like how often are you being called out on something like that?
So with my position, I'm the only crime scene investigator in the county.
Oh,
so I'm on
wow.
call 24/7.
Oh,
Okay.
so it's
being
not
said-
even like a standard like 9 to 5. All right,
No,
see you guys
no,
tomorrow.
No, you take it home with you for sure. So that being said, I actually don't get called out a lot because
Which
where
is
I-
good. We like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Because where I work, we have a rotation of other investigators. They're not crime scene investigators, but they are trained to do some of the things that I do. Okay. So they're on rotation. The sergeants and the lieutenant are on rotation, so they would get called. But if it was something major, like an unattended death that looked a bit suspicious. Or an aggravated assault or sexual assault or homicide, I would get called out. So they try to keep me from getting bottlenecked. To where, I'm going out on everything all the time.
Yeah, don't want to call you in on fiddly things when there's bigger stuff that
Unless
would
it's
come up.
my Airstream and someone messes with it.
Then
don't
Bill would
answer the phone
specifically
until it
call
calls
you.
you.
Yeah. Don't
So
answer
how
that
does
call.
on-call work then if it's 24/7? Like your phone has to be on all the time,
Yep.
and then the second they call you, do they just say like you've got so many minutes to get here, or you just get here when you can, or?
It's within reason, basically get there when you can. They know we've got lives and kids and other
Ellis County's a big
responsibilities.
county.
Yeah, it is.
Ellis County's big.
It can
huge.
take like 45 minutes to get from one side to the other. So
Even if you were in your car ready to go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've seen so much that you've almost desensitized to certain things?
Maybe. I mean, things like bodies and stuff didn't bother me from the beginning, but I guess it does tend to maybe sour you a bit on people in some ways. Like,
You get to see some evil, I'm sure.
yeah. Like my daughter gets so mad at me because I won't let her have a phone like all her friends. It's like, she's 10. She wants a phone so bad. I won't let her have one. Because I also do digital forensics, so I do cell phone downloads. And I mean, you'd be shocked. Like daily, we get cases of, child pornography, online solicitation, child sexual assault.
Wow.
And, with cell phones and social media, like this is something I really try to, beat into people. Like, predators don't have to go find your kid outside riding their bike anymore.
Yeah.
You let them into your home when you give them that phone.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're in their bedrooms with them.
Yeah.
Preying
That's
on
terrifying.
them. And so I don't let my kid have a phone.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
Good for you.
Well, you can't unknow what you know. It's not like you can say, oh, we'll just, compartmentalize and put all that
like
over
Men
there
in
that I
Black,
know.
you just do the thing and you do
It makes you not trust people anymore. Like, I just feel like everyone's a predator almost, you know?
sure.
And, I mean, I don't mean that literally, but
yeah, you have
there
to
is
be,
that
you never,
skepticism that you develop.
because you see it so much. It's easy to I feel like I
saw
would
something
be
the
the
other
same way.
day. This mom told her son, I think he was like, I don't know, I think he was 16 at the time or 14, something. Anyway, he was wanting social media. He had a phone, but he wanted social media. She's like, no. If you will wait till you're 18, I'll give you $1,800.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I
and
saw
so
that.
he waited, had no social media up until he turned 18, and then
Then he got $1,800 and like, that's all?
and then he posted it on Facebook.
It doesn't go very far.
That's not going to get me that much now.
But he didn't know that wasn't a lot because he
Yeah.
was on social media.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it was
There you go.
perfect. Yeah.
That's smart. Like what made you so interested in forensics?
Okay, so I actually started college with the intention of being an archaeologist. So then I took a forensic anthropology class within my major, and I was like, yes, this is it. Like, I didn't...
Awesome.
You kind of are an archaeologist. Kind of.
I guess you could look at it that way. But it was never something that, like, while I thought that would be cool, it wasn't really something I considered as a career path, going into college. But then I took that class and I was so interested, and then I started focusing all my coursework on that. And I really just love taking all of the knowns and the unknowns and piecing them together. I love that I get to help people for a living, and like I get to make a difference. Like, I know each day that I go home, even though after a while you start to feel like maybe do I really make a difference? But like, I know I do, know, when I really think about it, I know I do make a difference. And, I love the puzzle of it. And I just have like this morbid curiosity about me, and I always have. So I love that I get to, be right in the middle of weird stuff that nobody really has any idea about, like most people don't have any idea about.
So if you're the only investigator in the county, when do you take a vacation? Or can you? Are you even allowed?
Yeah, whenever, I mean...
You have to then be the CSI for that county that you're traveling in?
No,
They'll swap places.
my supervisors are great with, like, my time off. Like, they are all about, me having time off, time with my family. So that's never been an issue. If there were to be something really major in my absence, I'm pretty sure they could work it on their own.
Until
because
you got back.
I work with a lot of really... experienced investigators, veteran police officers.
Well,
But
they could call other people too.
we would also call the Texas Rangers if I were gone and they needed, that type
The
of
Texas
equipment.
Rangers just sound so cool.
What's the baseball team gonna do? So
Sammy Sosa.
do you also...
Please help us.
Sammy Sosa, that was a long time ago.
I don't know. I don't follow baseball.
Do you, I just jump back a couple eras. So do you have a 9 to 5-ish too, and then you get called out, or you just, you go in the office Monday through Friday?
I do.
Okay.
I work from 8 to 5.
Okay.
And then on call after that.
So the district judge in Ellis County, I got called for a grand jury. I didn't get selected. I wanted to badly, but
They had too many white guys already.
no, he disqualified me pretty quickly. But when he was giving his statement to the potential jurors, he said, "Hey, I got to tell you, nothing good happens from like midnight to 4 in the morning, and that's when most of the major stuff happens."
Yeah.
So it's not like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and commit murder at 8 o'clock in the morning so I don't get anybody working overtime. They don't think about that, or I'm going to do whatever this bad act is. It's usually at night where they think they're not going to get caught.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last homicide I had worked my full day, and then at like 4:30 in the afternoon, they're like, we've got a scene. So we go out there, and we're out there till, 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then we're all so tired, we don't want to jeopardize anything. So we're like, all right, let's lock the scene down. We'll go home and get a few hours sleep, and then we'll come back. And then we're there for another 12 hours or so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I heard you mention kids. Do you have one kid,
Yes,
2 kids? One kid. Okay. How much of your job does she know about? Like, does she know what you do?
Yeah, she
Okay.
knows a lot. She is obsessed with NCIS. Like, that's her favorite show. She's
Okay.
like, I want to be an NCIS agent when I grow up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Does she think that what you do is so cool? Like, man, my mom is so cool. She basically does.
Sometimes she acts like
She is 10, though.
Yeah.
she's very sassy, and so she's like, "Ugh, Mom,
Yeah.
But she does think it's kind of cool, when
She just can't tell you that she
Yeah.
thinks it's
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how it
no,
is.
it's that mother-daughter thing.
And she looks just like you.
Does she?
Yes.
I think she looks like her dad.
She's a little mini you, for sure.
So you posted some great advice on your Facebook. One of your pictures, you've got a crime scene tape, and you click on it. It's frequently asked questions.
Oh,
becoming
yeah.
a CSI.
I was actually trying to find that to prepare for this.
So
What did I
I
say?
did find it to prepare for this.
Okay.
And I thought it was amazing in the insight that you gave for people thinking about it. And one of the things that you talked about is you got to be real careful about your crazy early life, because there are a lot of interviews and background checks before you ever get to do this.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so they put you through a very rigorous background investigation.
You have to do a polygraph test, too, right?
Yes, and a psychological evaluation, a drug test.
Did you do your polygraph test in Arlington, by chance? Do you remember? I have a friend that's a polygrapher, and he does all the police officers.
No, it was like up in Richardson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, they put you through this long, rigorous process. You have to answer all these really intrusive questions, very honestly. And then you have to give them all these references, and then they call all your people and, ask them a lot of really intrusive questions about you. And they'll go through all of your social media. They'll see if you're taking pictures, out at the club, drunk all the time.
Right.
They'll see if you're in your
You're out,
car
Jaisy.
taking
You
a
can't
picture
do
with
it.
a beer in your car. A lot of people do that. And
Isn't
I'm
that
like,
crazy?
you're so stupid.
Yeah.
Wow. But that's also another thing. Like,
Bill's going to have
if
to
you
change his
are-
profile picture now.
Yeah. If you are on call 24/7, do you have to be like careful about like how much you drink and stuff like that? Because it's like I could get a call and might have to go to work.
Well, if I've been drinking, I'll just tell them, like, hey, I had a margarita with dinner, I can't come. And, they're understanding. They know I have a life, and I can't always just be boring at home.
You need to enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
I agree. That's so. That being said, what is the craziest thing that you, or should we do
Let's
tales?
do tales.
do
Yeah.
tales.
Go ahead, Bill.
Tales from the lockbox.
Yeah. So if you have any crazy stories, on the job, off the job, who knows?
Okay. I kind of thought of a few in preparation, because people always ask me that, and I never have a good answer. I'm like, I don't know. So
one
I'm like, I
You
should
gotta keep some
really
in your back pocket of
yeah.
like, hold on, let me open up my notepad. Got this one.
So I don't want to talk about any specific cases, just out of respect, but just like some gross stuff, I guess, that people might
let us
be
have it.
interested in. Okay, so when I worked at the state lab in Minnesota, I worked at the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. That's their state crime lab. We had to go to the medical examiner's offices to get known fingerprints from unidentified bodies. So during decomposition, there's this phenomenon that happens where the epidermis separates from the dermis on the hands. So it's called degloving. So like the outer layer of
lifts off?
skin will essentially just come off like as a glove.
Oh.
So in order to get prints from that glove, sometimes you have to rehydrate it, and then you have to wear it on your hand.
Oh.
As a
It
glove.
puts the glove on its hand.
Yes.
Look at Jaycee's face.
I know. And roll the prints out like you would if you were getting your own.
What does it
prints
feel like
done.
on the, I mean, you're wearing
Whoa.
gloves, I guess, or you just put your hand in there?
Oh, gloves for sure.
Gloves.
Yeah,
And does
for
it
sure.
feel, does it feel like you're putting a glove on?
Not really, because it's really loose.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's really gross when there's like maggots in between those layers and they're all
Oh my
crunchy.
goodness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, maggots are the worst.
Yeah. I love this so much. We should have made this our Halloween episode.
Oh, yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah.
Well, so I looked up a story too. I was just trying to find something, that was kind of related. And it was this couple, I think it was like a boyfriend and girlfriend. And the girl's sibling owed them money. And to the point, it was a substantial amount, but the siblings stopped replying. They couldn't even get them to answer the phone anymore, and they owed her all this money. So they decided it would be smart to stage this fake crime scene. Like she had died, so the sibling would have to rush over, right? Because she's dead. And so they put her in the bathtub, they put ketchup all over her, and make it look like she's dead in the bathtub. And they take a picture and they text it to the sibling saying, "We got in a huge fight last night. I don't know what to do." Well, the sibling comes over, and their first response was, "Okay, you need to delete the picture. We got to get rid of the body." Like they just start talking through like how to make this all go away. Yeah. Anyway, the picture ended up spreading throughout the family. It was like this big uproar. The police were called, all this stuff. And so they all got fined for creating like uproar or whatever, or panic, I think is what it was. But yeah, it was this picture. And they showed the picture online, and this girl's laying in the bathtub, and it looks like she's been stabbed to death. I'm like, really?
You can't
That's crazy to walk into a house
thinking
thinking,
disappear.
but to walk into the house and think that your sibling's dead, and to immediately be like,
This is what we're going to do.
we're just going to need to hide it. Like,
I know.
So you're going to pay me my $20 or not?
Now I'm going to get involved in conspiracy.
Right.
But as the
Yeah.
sibling, how would you feel if your sibling was just going to cover it all up? Like, dude, just pay her the money.
That's messed up.
Yeah, it was probably like a couple $100.
Yeah.
Wow.
We need to level up.
I
Way
wonder
up.
if at that point it would be considered conspiracy.
I think it would be.
It would be
Yeah.
a crime.
They did get fined. They did get fined for creating panic, but I don't know what I don't know. But
So-
yeah, they got in trouble.
Wow.
For sure.
Before we level up, I have a question. Curious.
Okay.
Because I used to work with a lot of detectives, a lot of investigators, and what I used to do. And some of them were just arrogant buttholes. And not in Ellis County.
Do you know any of them?
I'm not going to ask you anything about Ellis County, but maybe in Minnesota. Did you ever encounter people like that? Or is it just my impression?
The guys I work with are great.
I
So
think
I can't
there's
say like
jerks
I've
everywhere.
personally dealt with that. But
Yeah.
Good.
yeah.
Because I've seen some people that I've worked side by side with. I'm like, dude.
But I think they're everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
That can be any
Every
profession.
industry will
Yeah.
have guys that are like that,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Especially like managers of real estate offices.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. They're really, really bad.
For real.
Really bad.
And they're all old white guys.
I just don't get
Thanks,
it.
Tom. Tom, you know what?
Tom will always give
I
me the laugh
appreciate that you laugh at me. That's why I like you, is that you laugh at me.
Hey, he's taken, okay? Just
Well, he's trying to be an old
Oh
white
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
So there you go. Let's level up. you
Yes,
know?
please.
Way
So, one of the things that I think all of us have to realize as we're going through every single day and we encounter people is we don't know what they've dealt with. Okay, so we have no idea what happened to them at work. Did they have a real estate agent insult them and call them an old white guy?
Yeah.
That's not an insult.
It's fine.
Yeah, I know that's
Okay.
true because I guess I am an old white guy. Or did they just have a bad day? Did their dog bite them? Whatever the case is, did someone die? I think that it's really, really important to be gentle and kind and forgiving, especially with yourself, because sometimes not only are we unkind with other people, but we're our own worst enemy.
For sure.
And if we would actually listen to what we told ourselves, we'd punch ourselves in the face and say, you can't talk to me like that, right? I've got a very good friend of mine, Jamie Wycliffe, who has the following quote on her email signature, and I've seen it there for years. And it says, be kinder than necessary. Everyone's fighting some kind of battle. So
Preach,
how much
Jamie.
better would this world be? And how much better would we all have it if we all followed that advice?
For sure.
Yeah, that's great.
It's easy to want grace, but hard to show it. For
Yes.
sure.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here,
Yes,
Katie.
thank you for having me.
I know this is out of your comfort zone, but I feel like you were so natural, and I feel like we learned so much about what you do and what we see a lot of times on TV. And so thank you so much
Super
for being
interesting.
here.
I feel like I could ask you 1,000
Yes.
questions. Thank you for answering
Very, very cool.
all my weird ones.
Yes. But
Not weird at all considering the subject matter.
right. Good. In any other circumstance, it might be weird, but it was okay here.
Yeah.
But thank you all for listening. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, all of the things. And join us next week. PB and Jaisy, we out.
Yeah.
Just had a chat, talk this and that with PB and Jaisy.